Hi everyone, welcome to TriEssence Martial Art channel. Fu Debunked Episode 5, Real, Fake, or Disguised Magic. So following my previous two-part video on the Kung philosophy, we talked about the magic of Song, right? Where if you haven't watched it or you watched it a while back, let's have a quick recap. We quoted Arthur C. Clarke, who says that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And in another sense, we can say that anything you don't understand is indistinguishable from magic. Right. Perfect time. And when we apply that to martial art, we can basically say that if you don't understand the mechanic behind certain phenomena, you can chop it off as a Qi power, magic power, internal power, whatever you want to call it, miracle power. But in essence, everything that is real means that it can work on everyone, not just selected people, must have a fundamental physical mechanic behind it, right? And that's what we were discussing in the two-part video on the magic of Song. So from that video, someone actually requested that I do an analysis on a particular video. And I thought about making it part 3 of Magic of Song, but then I thought I'll just add into a new episode of Kung Fu Debunked. While it is under this series, not everything in this video is fake. We're just gonna talk about what's fake, what is not, which was the title is called Real, Fake, or Disguised Magic, or Magic in Disguise, right? Or Disguised Magic. So firstly, I'd like to say that okay, so we're gonna have so this is a video filmed by a YouTuber called The Martial Man, and it's an interview he had on a very controversial figure in the Taiji community called Adam Messner, right? I know that this is a kind of worm that maybe should better left unopened, but in this channel, we're here to seek the truth. So, I'm going to open this kind of worm anyway. Have you heard of this Adam Messner?
No.
You need to get out more.
No, I'm getting out more, that's why I haven't heard of it.
Right, so first of all, I'd like to say that I don't know any of those two persons, I don't know them in person, nor have I met them in real life. So the only expression I can have impression is from the video that I watched. And I watched a couple of Martial Man's video just to get a good better understanding of his channel and his approach. And I have to say that I quite like him. Without meeting him in person, I do think the Martial Man, right, the YouTuber that makes his videos, he's a very nice guy, very humble and open-minded. He goes around documenting various masters, and he never tries to start them over. He's always very humble and very cooperative. So I do like that man in this regard. But obviously there's a slight problem to the way he does things because he's not really pressure testing his masters. He's basically doing what would you call it, a fluff piece on these masters, right? Making them look good. Which I can understand because if you're running a documentary series, if you stuff over every master interview, very soon there will be no one wanting to go on to your interview. So I understand that, but you have to also keep in mind that because of the way he does things, it makes some of the masters look better than they actually is. But I have no problem with the martial man himself, right? He's a very humble person, which is quite rare in Chinese martial art community. Now regarding Adam Messner, he's I have mixed opinions about him. Some of the people I know think he is the guy, one of the best masters in the entire world, right? He has a lot of fanboys. On the other hand, I also know a group of people who hate him to God and think he's a complete fraud with zero skill whatsoever, 100% charlatan. Right? In particular, there's a guy called Stuart Shaw who has been trying to challenge Adam Messner for over 10 years, and from what I hear, Adam has always been avoiding his challenges and confrontation. I don't exactly know the detail of that story because I'm not personally involved, but that's what I heard from Stuart Shaw. But in this video, I'm not going to represent any of the two camps, and in doing so, I'm probably going to piss off both camps. But again, the channel is about the truth, so I don't really care who I piss off as long as I'm expressing the truth that I believe in. And I believe that he is a bit of both. I think he definitely has some real skill, but at the same time, he's also kind of misrepresenting himself severely. He's not being honest about what he's doing, right? And today we're going to examine why I say that. So let's go and watch the first piece of the video.
You do some chin now on me, okay. So if I'm stiff, okay, you get me straight away. You try, yeah. That's all. Your chin now.
It comes back to me.
Yeah, you do whatever you want. Free chin now. You do whatever you want.
All right, so over here, he's demonstrating, the fact that you cannot joint lock a Tai Chi master because he has Song and he has Qi, and when you apply Qi, then joint lock don't work. So we're going to just quickly run through what he did, right? So the first one is basically you have your arm here, I grab you, and you put your hand on, on my hand here, and then you yank, and then you apply force. So you do it here.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yes, like this. So this is the joint lock he's demonstrating. So obviously, if I'm resisting with this joint here, and it's gonna be really sore, and I'm gonna use this wrist. It's not a joint that's supposed to go that way. So like he said in the beginning, right? If I resist, I'm gonna do this, okay? And then in the second one, you saw that does this and go, then he does that, something to that effect. So. And obviously he does it better because I don't actually do this. Right? I'm just looking at his video and then mimicking it. I don't practice to represent this in a better manner. So what actually happens is that first of all, there are some mechanics, right? Like I've explained in my video on the secret behind Taiji. We talk about that in Taiji. We talk about separating yin and yang. What that means is if he's locking my wrist, okay, go. If I fight with the wrist, that is yang versus yang, which is double heavy in the Taiji class. In which case, whoever is stronger is going to win because two forces meeting directly on top of each other. Alright? So the mechanic, the actual mechanic here, the general mechanic is that you have to not use your wrist to resist. However, you can't make it soft. Okay? Often when people say you relax, you song, they just keep it soft. And if I just keep it soft, you're still going to get yanked. That is why when people hear, okay, you got to song, and then they try themselves and they still get yanked, it's going to be like, oh, so must be some kind of magic. But no, it is not some kind of magic or Qi power. It's just that it is not the right description. You shouldn't call this song, at least I wouldn't call it that. Okay, I would call it opening of joint or joint extension. So just quickly, right, when I do this the other way, what do you feel from the first way?
What do you mean the first way?
Okay, so when I resist you and you get me, to when you do it again, and I do this.
Okay, right.
What do you say?
So basically, it's the first way where you try to resist on the wrist. It's very direct basically. Okay. So it's not here's a map, right? Here's a so here's a GPS. Okay, go find the place. The GPS autopilots and guides you. So all the streets and all the turns, right, are very clear.
Okay. So you have a clear force.
Exactly. So basically, I know what I'm fighting against. Right. I can feel what I'm fighting against, and when I try to fight against it, it gives me feedback. Yes. So I know where I am. Okay. So that's not driving with a GPS.
And obviously, you have two hands and one hand, so he's going to win. And also, I have a bad, position of joints.
So the second one is basically, it's basically, if I ask you to find the location, you go ahead and buy me an ice cream. That's basically what it is. So I'm trying to fight him.
Analogies ever.
So I'm trying to twist his wrist, right? He doesn't even bother fighting me or whatsoever. He just pulls me off my balance. So therefore, my force is interrupted. So that's what it is. So.
Yeah, that's a cool analogy. Buying your ice cream.
Yeah, go find this place. Yeah, you come back with ice cream. It's like, what the hell? So that's what it is.
Right. So basically, right, you have to extend your joint. If you don't, you're still gonna get yanked. But you extend the joint in a way that you're not fighting with this joint. So this joint becomes one piece with the hand and the arm bone. Right. So this part does take practice. You can't just pick up and do this. You need to be able to extend your joints. And tense up your tendon, ligament, all of that. So that's the thing that requires practice. You can't just pick up and do it. And it's like, imagine, okay, so obviously this works when my wrist is bent, right? It's like a joint. Imagine if this is actually a stick. Do you think you can bend it? No, because the stick is one piece of solid mass. So what I'm basically doing is I'm applying the joint in such a way that my arm becomes a solid piece, so that the stress is not here, it's spread out to the rest of my arm. It's not immediately felt here. And then, because my arm is straight, I'm extending my E, which is not magic, it's just the way I control my skeletal structure, to send the force past his joint. Right? So I'm holding here, he's holding here. So that's the point of force contact. If I fight here, I'm fighting into his force, and then whoever's stronger is going to win. But if I keep this straight, and I apply the force all the way to my fingers here, then I'm actually going past him. He's putting force here, but I'm going right through him, and I'm putting it here. And he has no resistance here, right? His force is going this way. He doesn't have nothing going this way. And the moment I start pulling him, he can't do anything, because that's not what he's trying to do. So what this does require mechanic, you have to have bone, skeletal extension, opening and closing of joints to make this work. The way he expanded up, I fool myself with Qi, and then I Song, and then it doesn't work. That is very, very misleading. Okay, and I don't believe in this case he's actually misinterpreting what he's doing. I think he's actually just trying to purposely make it more vague so that people actually get more impressed. Anything else you want to add?
Well, if you don't interrupt me with your pull, right? Then then you probably have to remove my force.
Yes.
So the pull is actually a way to stop me from applying more force.
Yes.
It's to disrupt me.
Yeah, because then he loses balance.
Yeah. So I don't know whether it's kind of it feels
a
a little
trick.
bit
Yes,
it feels a little bit like you're not really fighting my force, you're just out tricking.
Yeah,
that kind of thing. So.
But however, right? If you really want to be nitpicking, he doesn't do that. But we can also do it like this. So you still do the same. Okay, go.
Yep.
I just extend my joints and then you can go harder, right? You see, I can still kind of resist, but just the principle I was telling earlier, I keep my arm up as a straight stick, and so in that way, I'm not stressing this piece of joint. When you apply force just now, you don't feel it here, right?
No.
So I can also do it this way, but obviously, this looks less impressive than when I yank him here.
Yeah.
So that's probably why he does it that way. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. I'll move on to the next one.
Down. Go. Good. Lock it. Lock it. You see? I just saw. I don't need to use any trick. You go.
Alright, so for this one, I need to switch around so you can see it better. So this one, he yanks the arm. So you see, yeah, yes. So it's here, right? I'll apply force, right? Yeah. Okay, so hold it tight, right?
Yeah.
So over here, if I try to fight back, obviously you can't because this joint is a weak joint, it's a back position, and he's applying force on the leverage. And then so if I try to use my body come up, I'm gonna hurt my own shoulder. So I've actually done this in my secret of Taiji video, but yeah, let's just redo this. So from here, what you can do is not fight with this, but connect this, extend it to the rest of your body. And what he does is he basically uses the body to do this, and then the guy goes back, right? So what do you feel in this instance?
It feels like that I'm pushing down on the table,
okay,
and the entire 2-3 guys from at the bottom below the table
okay,
just to lift me up.
All right.
So my entire body flies down.
Okay, so let's repeat this again. We're gonna talk about work. Okay, so if I'm fighting you with my arm,
yeah,
do you feel that?
Yeah.
Okay, now if I connect that to the body, do you feel it differently?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
It feels less tangible.
Less tangible. Okay.
Yeah,
so in my other video, I've already said, right, this is basically the basic version of separating yin and yang. Wherever the contact point is passive, and then I move this whole structure from somewhere else. Like in this case, from my waist. Okay, and my waist is far away from his reach. So he's holding a piece of thick furniture, and because it is one piece, right? My joint extends and forms like a one solid piece. So when I move my waist, it naturally moves the wrist. If your joints are not extended and fixed, then when I move my body, it will get stuck. The force will get stuck by the joint, and then his force will meet with my force, and then my shoulder is going to hurt. But if I extend my shoulder and keep it one piece of the rest of the body, when I move, all the force goes to him immediately. It doesn't fight over my own joint. And another thing, right, that you might not even pick up, okay, so what he did, if you look carefully at that video again, he's applying force that way. He's not even fighting directly back. Which again, nothing wrong with it, right? In reality, if you get in a tough spot, if you can outsmart the guy, by all means do so. But I would say be honest with what you're doing. So, go back here. So he isn't, okay, apply force, right? Because he isn't fighting directly. Go.
Yep.
He isn't fighting directly back this way. Instead, he's using the body and he's drawing his hand this way. Okay, that's why if you see the guy, his arm actually goes there and then the guy goes back. And why is this important? Because again, he has no resistance this way. He's going this way and I'm putting him that way. I'm changing the direction of the conflict. Right, we're gonna add to this.
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah.
So this is it's legit, but it's not Qi power. It's just changing the what you call a vector.
Yeah, it's vector forces.
So changing a different vector force to a position that he isn't ready for. So if you switch around, okay, and you do this, right? You know how to do it, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm gonna apply force.
Yeah.
Okay, connect the wrist to the rest of the waist, and then go. Yeah, you see, I also can't hold him. But let's do this again. You do exactly the same thing, right? Okay, go.
Exactly the same thing.
Yeah. You see what happened there?
Well, you don't fight back, basically.
Yes, but what?
Well, you're pushing towards him.
If I change my direction of the force.
You can see me go to walk.
Yeah, so you see, so the point is, this works when the guy is only doing this and nothing else. Then when he resists, okay, go.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Then this happens. But if I'm an actual threat to him, whether I'm trying to stop him over in the demo or in real life, because I don't think in real life you will hold a guy like this. But let's just say, if this is the case, when I feel the resistance, okay, go. I'm gonna do something else. Okay, you can go try to go up, right? And I'm gonna do something else to him. I'm not gonna keep doing one thing and let him overpower me. So while this can be a way to demonstrate some mechanic, it doesn't mean that this is an applicational thing or it's like a useful thing, right? I mean, maybe I shouldn't be very proud of this, but I stuffed over many Taiji masters in my day or in my past with similar things to this, right? Some master in the park will be showing people how he can't be locked, and I'll be like, oh, this is so cool, let me try. And I'll lock him down and I'll yank him to the ground. Okay, but let me be clear, right? I don't do it to people who are nice. Okay, I do it usually when a guy is boasting or talking trash, or looking down on other people that I know, that I would go and stuff them over. The point is, all these demos, if you know how they actually do it, you can counter it efficiently. So these are not invincible tricks, right? If it's just Qi power, then it shouldn't be able to be countered, right? Because that Qi should just overpower me. But it's because his force, if I know exactly which try to apply his force, and I just change my force before he change his, or I catch him, and then I change him to something else, and then this becomes almost like a push and contest. So remember that this is not, and that's a good evidence of why this is not Qi power. If it's just, I fill my body with Qi and you can't resist, I shouldn't be able to stuff over people. Obviously, I've never met Adam Messner in person, so I'm not saying I can stuff him over in the same example, but I've done it to other people in the past, especially in China. I tend to do that quite often, which is why there's a bunch of people in China who hate me to gut. Anyway, but that's beside the point. So this is basically the mechanic behind the demo.
Do whatever. Come. Hey.
Right, so the next one is when he offers his arms, and then I think he does something like this. And then so basically, okay, go. What he does is he's basically pulling him back and then pulling him forward.
Yep.
So again, I'm not using the detail where the hand is, but the idea is the same. So again, what he does is he's basically keeping this joint all spread. You can pay attention to his fingers, right? It's all stretched out. That means he's extending the joint. It's not like this. If you like this, there's nothing you can do. So he's keeping it straight. And then the guy's trying to yank these joints, and he's basically drawing a circle here and then back. Again, it's a vector that he has no control over. He's trying to do here, I'm trying to move his body. So again, a legit mechanic misrepresented by Song and Qi power. Okay, so the next one, I think it's quite simple. You guys should all see, but just in case, let me talk about it. Right, is when the guy tries to throw him like this. Okay, and then he's like this, and when he tries this, he falls over. Now, this is really simple. Okay, The reason that happens is because his body is in structure and no compromise. And for him to get into this position, right, he needs to first go through a stage of destabilization. He can come closer, like him. So the moment if he reaches here, then that's 50-50 if my body is straight. But before he lands his feet, I'm actually in the superior position here. So if I apply force to him, he's gonna fall over because he's not stable. Okay. If he really want to prove that he has Qi power or whatever he claims, he should let the guy stand here and he should keep the body there. Okay. And from here, if he can come back, then maybe he's got something special. I mean, it's not impossible, but it's much harder. The way he does it, unlike the previous one, which requires some extension and actual mechanics, this one, anyone can pretty much do. If you just keep your body straight, you catch the guy there, and then you push him, he's gonna fall over. All right. So this one is really nothing impressive. So just a quick note on the previous one. Even against a regular person, if let's say he's not a Taiji master, it's just like that does regular, I don't know, like MMA or wrestling or anything to that effect. If he's standing there, I mean he doesn't do it, but let's just pretend he is. And if I come and I try to do this, he will also throw me over. Okay? Which is why you don't come and do that. Usually what you do is you want to distress him first. Throw a couple of punches to his face, or do something else, and then once he's not focused on the trip, so I'll throw a few punches and then I'll and I'll throw him over. Okay, so that's how it usually works. If you just come with a throw, it wouldn't work on anyone who has some knowledge on how this thing works. So next one is a shoulder throw, right? So obviously, okay. So the key here for shoulder throw is okay. So basically, you have to use your shoulder onto my armpit. Yeah. And you have to pump your hip. Yeah. And then once that happens, if you yank hard enough here, I'm gonna get tripped over. That's how shoulder throw works. So the way he avoids the shoulder throw is by the moment the guy, before the shoulder actually comes in here, right? If he's coming in here, it's harder. But as the guy is coming here, okay, go. Yeah, do a shoulder throw. He does this. I mean, not as much, but like he suddenly shifts his position and then drags on, and then the guy can't pick him up. Again, our presentation is not really good looking, but it's a principle, right? So instead of doing that, he basically shifts forward and he drops with some body weight, and if once I'm like here, if you look at the leverage, I have more weight on this end than he can apply on this end. If he gave me here, then he will throw me over, right? It's as simple as that. So in this case, it does require some relaxed thinking force, but it's really nothing special. Okay, the next one basically is where he, I think he does this. Yeah. So. Like that? Yeah, you wanna push that way. Yeah, like this. Okay, so the previously was this way. Now we do it. So again, right, the moment he does this, you relax this part and you apply the force here. So he's trying to put me into this lock. And once I'm here, okay, I apply the force. It's very hard to resist because of this joint here being in stress. But the moment he does that, I relax this, go. And then he can push it out because I'm applying a force. I'm obviously connecting my skeleton like I always say, and then I apply a force from my wrist and hand inwards to his center of balance, right? So his force is going this way, my force is going that way, and he had nothing to stop it, which is why he did push back. So this is like the previous view. It is a legit mechanic, but it's not magic or Qi power or song. This is just if you can't have control over your skeletal force, extending joints, know where the points are, where to yin yang separate, you can do this.
Come. So you see the empty hose? You can chin now.
Yes, I feel that.
Chin, lock me. I fill up.
So the next one is where he yanks the hands like this. I can't remember. Just do this. Yeah, so it's like this. And obviously, he says, if I'm empty holes, then you can apply force and there's nothing. But if I fold it up, There you go. Then you see, then it's harder, which is the same principle. I'm just connecting my joint so that it becomes a stick, applying, right? And what he did is, then he keep applying, right? Then he pull it back, and then he sends forward. Okay, do you feel anything? I mean, so what do you feel here?
It's
the same as the previous examples, right?
Yeah, it's not trying to bend a tree trick, basically.
A bend what?
A tree, a twig.
A twig. Okay.
Yeah, like a branch, basically,
Okay.
a tree branch. So before it's the joints was kind of relaxed, it's pliable.
Yes.
With you can clearly see the fingers extended.
Yeah.
So once that the whole joints mechanics was in place, it's harder to bend.
Yes.
Yeah. But the main thing that throws me off is not this though. It's not twisting his wrist. It's the push.
Yeah.
So when I'm unstable, then I start worrying about my I don't fall onto the floor, and then I stop applying the force.
Yes. So he's saying that he folds his chi like a hose with water. What actually can be said is that he basically extends his joint so that the skeletal force passing through his arm, right? So that's what in the beginning I said. He does have skill. What he does, some of them are legit. It's just that he severely misrepresents what he actually does.
You do like the elbow lock or something? I check you. Look me. Come. Hey. Ah. Yeah. E.
Okay. So next one, he asked the guy to I think he asked the guy, I think this arm here, and then asked the guy to do this. But if you look, every time the guy actually does this, he doesn't even let the guy do it. And then he then he does this, and then he asks the guy to do it again, and then he's like, oh, and then he starts hitting him. So again, I mean, this is what you want to do. If somebody is trying to joint lock you, you don't want the joint lock to form. But if you don't even let the joint lock form, you don't need like structural power. If your arm is like this, he's not going to be able to bend it into this. If you, especially when you're moving, okay. So I don't even know what you're trying to show here, but this isn't how you can resist or overcome a joint lock. This is basically how you don't let the guy put you in the lock in the first place, which is nothing special. Every martial arts know about this. At least every legit functional martial art knows about this.
Striking. Boom. Okay.
Alright, so the next portion he talked about how the striking works in Taiji. And I have to say that what he demonstrates is not completely non-functional. I mean, it might not be the most optimized way based on my own personal opinion, but it is functional. It's not completely fake. However, I do have a problem with him, using this to represent the way Taiji fights, right? Because it could work in any other martial art. So if this is the way you fight, there's no real reason to do Taiji or to understand Taiji mechanics. So for example, the first one where the guy throws a punch, and he does this, and he pushes the guy. This could work with any martial art. Why do you have to do push hand? Why do you need to have Peng, Lu, Jian, the Taiji forces? Why do you have to open your joints and do these forces, this internal structure? We are just gonna, dodge the guy, whack him on the leg, knee him, and then push him. It doesn't make use of any of the Taiji qualities. If this is how you want to fight, do any external martial art will suffice.
It's striking.
Right? The second one here, he showed where the guy come forward with this arm, and then he does something like this. This, is kind of better. In Chinese, we call it 合击 or 迎击, which means that when the guy is attacking, you don't evade or step back, you run into him, and using your structural superiority, you basically break his attack and hit him at the same time, so that when he's attacking you, you're attacking him. Right? This is how internal martial art should fight, based on my understanding. And that's not just Taiji. I have met practitioners of Xingyi who have the same approach, of Yiquan have the same approach, and Wuxing Tongbei. Right? So we can say this is a common understanding among authentic internal martial arts. So this one is okay.
A strike. So you see in slow motion when I move, I change punch, I change my body, I apply force. So the same as any other art.
The next one, however, where the guy again, I think throws this hand and he does this, and he punches him there. Okay, he doesn't slap it as hard, but this is basically what he does. Again, this is a legitimate technique. You even see it in boxing, right? Sometimes they'll be like this and they'll go punching through the gap. It's a legit technique, but again, You don't need Tai Chi for this. You can just do boxing or any other external martial art if you're just trying to evade a guy and punch him in the face. I mean, where do you even need the quality of structure, control, dissipation of force, controlling of his weight? Nothing, right? He says that this is sticking. But you don't need to stick. You can just slap him, or even don't slap. You can just parry this and punch him. It's all the same. You don't need to do anything with this hand special. So again, if you want to fight like this, then just do anything. You don't need Tai Chi stuff for this.
Sticking, you see, striking.
The next one is where he hijacks that, get out of the way, then stick, and then then I come back and I hit him or whatever he does, right? Prior to this, the guy have to be overreaching. You have to be punching like this for me to get out of the way and sticking him here. That's how big the motion is. If he does a jab, good luck doing that. Even if he does a cross, but like a proper cross, which is which is like this, you still can't have the time to do that motion. That only works when they're overreach. So this particular application, I would say, is not as practical as the one he's shown previously. And ultimately, again, if you can already dodge out of the way, you don't need to stick. Why are you even sticking? You totally don't need this. If you can do that, you can just do this and kick him right in the ribs, okay? Or number of other things. If you can dodge a punch in that kind of speed, you don't need to do the sticking. It doesn't represent the strength or the advantage that Taiji have compared to other martial arts. You're not playing to your advantage. Which is why, although I don't have proof of this, personally, I would think that he came out with these applications on his own, okay? And therefore, he basically borrowed ideas from external martial art to make his application look more legit. I don't think these are the actual Tai Chi applications taught to him from his lineage. And I don't know exactly who his teacher is, but I remember he's from the Huangnan lineage, from Malaysia, Singapore, Southeast Asia. And I don't remember ever seeing Huang doing any martial arts application where he does these dodges and moves like that. So I personally don't believe he got these from this application, right? His body mechanics maybe, most likely, but not his application. I think he came out with this on his own by borrowing idea from external martial art, and that's the problem I have with it. If you're familiar with the Taiji classic, which is a text that's supposed to define what is Taiji, okay? In that text it says, if you need to be stronger to beat the weak, to be faster to beat the slow, then that is any martial art and it's not Taiji. And what that means is, Taiji should not require you to be faster or stronger to win. Now this might sound a little hippie-ish or mysticism, but basically what it's actually saying is that you don't have to be faster and stronger because you have to be stronger because you are using joint extension. So you are applying a better overall skeletal force compared to external martial art, which focuses on muscle strength. So you don't have to be as strong. Doesn't mean you have to be completely weak, right? You still need structural force. It's just a different type of strength. You don't have to be able to pump iron to be able to win against someone who does. You don't have to be faster. This means you don't need to evade. If I have to evade him, I need to be faster. Because if I'm not, I'm going to get hit. Okay? Anything that has to do with evasion requires you to win him with speed. But clearly the Taiji classic says that is not Taiji. So what is Taiji? Okay, I'm not going to claim that my version is definitely the truth, but in my lineage we believe that, and like I said, right, it's not just Taiji, I see the same thing in Xingyi and in Yichuan and Wuxing Tongbei. We believe that when he attacks, we don't evade, we don't dodge, we go into the attack, and then we break his structure. And then we hit them at the same time, okay? And the moment you start doing this, you don't have to be faster, because he's coming to you. You have to be fast enough to touch his arm. But to dodge, you pretty much have to move faster than his punch. But if he's coming to me, I'm meeting him, I don't need to be faster. I just have to, be in time to touch the hand. And, for example, if he's throwing a punch, I just do this and punch him back. And that's basically breaking his structure here and then punching him back. Or, if you want to have one that looks more Taiji-like, we can do low tiao or bu, right? So he punch and I'll be there, and then hit him there. And obviously, if his other arm gets in the way, then it's there, right? So that will be how you don't have to be faster because I'm moving into his attack. and I'm breaking his structure because he's having a linear force and having a circular force. That's one thing. Second thing is I'm applying my whole body structure to this. If you just use your arms, it's not going to be as good as if I do that, right? Even if he's strong, his whole body can get yanked. And from that moment he's unstable, I hit him. So you're familiar with any of the Beijing's Tai Chi lineage, whether it's the Wang Yuquan lineage, Wang Peicheng lineage, or any of the other legitimate Beijing lineage, they all believe in the 4 stages of Tai Chi, which is 接换拿发. Right, 接 is to contact, 换 is to dissolve, 拿 is to seize, 发 is to hit. And although that sounds complicated, what it means is basically I contact, I dissolve, and I break his balance. That is na. Na is not a joint lock, right? Seize means to seize his balance. And balance doesn't mean I hold his balance in my hand, it just means I break his balance. And once his balance is broken, that's the moment where he's unstable, I hit him. Another example we can take for a single word, so that will be like a hook, so be there, right? But I mean, if I don't let's not push him, let's just look at the first one. You see how his balance gets yanked that way, and that moment I hit him? I mean, I'm not using high-level Tai Chi stuff, I'm mostly using bone structure here. My master would say this isn't real Tai Chi because you need to combine bone skeleton force with the second force to form the third force, which is Tai Chi force. We're not going to talk about that. But the point is, this is how we understood Tai Chi application. Is to go into a guy, meet the attack face on, break his structure while doing so, and hit him at the same time. Much like how he did the one where the guy, where he did this and then does something similar to that effect. So that one I think is more legitimate, but all the other one is very external style action. While it works, I don't think it represents how Tai Chi should deal with combat.
We connect, it becomes sticking or grappling situation. Come, you see? We strike. I can move, we can stick, like Chi Sao. You can move freely. Okay? So I'm only touching you very lightly.
Okay.
Yep. When you come, I stick. I have control over the body. You want to do something? I want to do something. Okay? We use the kicking. Come. You want to strike, you come. Then, okay. I strike. I strike. Here, I strike. And I control.
Alright, so next part, then he goes on to show what to do once you in closer contact, like push hand kind of distance. Like what I say, I do believe this is where Tai Chi actually is meant to fight. It wasn't meant to fight with evasions and stuff, right? Anyway, so let's move on to this part. The first thing I have was the first part I have is that the first example, he stands on the inside, and the guy is not contesting him for the inside, right? We call this the inner gate, the outer gate. Inner gate is more direct, so if I'm on the inner gate, of course I'm going to punch him in the face. This is already given. If you're not contesting my arm, then I'm going to punch you in the face all day. It doesn't prove anything, okay? And like I said in the beginning, right, this martial man guy is very humble and nice. I do respect him. I don't do that by myself as much, but I do respect people who does that. So he's very humble and he didn't want to contest, and which is why he got hit in the face. But that doesn't actually show any skill, right? A real skill would be that I'm maybe on the inside, but he actually trying to not let me go on the inside, and then I somehow hit him. But the point is, he had to show some resistance. If he just being here like a dummy, then anything would work. The second one, the guy does a punch from here, and he does this again, and he hit him back in the face. But you see, if the guy were to not be cooperative, then the moment his hand comes in and I do this, he's going to circle around. This hand, going to circle around and hit him. Okay, you do this, right? Yeah. So if I go here and he goes that way, I'm gonna hit him like that. Alright, so I mean he can say he's sticking and the guy can't let go, but I've never ever encountered someone who can do this and then I have to do this and not let it go. I don't believe that is real against people who don't want to be cooperative. Which is why in our practice of push hand, we never let go of the center line. We don't ever do things over here. Right? If we contact here, we're always fighting over this line. We don't go here and then go there. No, if you try to go that way, I'm going to come in here. And then that hand will have to come up, and we always fighting here. Anything we do, if I'm going this way, and he's slightly out, I'm going to punch him. I'm not going to care about this arm. Why do I care about this arm? It's up to him to not let me do that by circling in, right? Or like this, right? So you go from here, and then you turn up like this. Like that. So if I do this to him and punch him, it's up to him to do that. I'm not gonna. The moment his arm is no longer here, I don't care about it. I'm gonna hit it. Okay, that is how application of combat version of push hand is supposed to work. So I don't believe in people doing this and then try to hit him in the face. The motion is too big. And anyone worth his salt is gonna switch around. And pretty much everything else that you see in this portion of the video is just fluff. Right? The guy is just being cooperative. You know, his arm is not even moving. He's just making it a dead structure. Right? Make a dead structure so that I can show I can do this and do that and move him and do all of that stuff because he's not fighting back. It would be a completely different story if he meets somebody who's good and he's willing to fight back. Right? This would be a completely different scenario. Which is why you shouldn't take this portion of the video any serious at all.